Odessa is a post-apocalyptic rock opera starring Sadie Sink, of course, of Stranger Things fame, and while the consensus so far is rightfully mixed, I do think it's potentially a more interesting film than some folks are giving it credit for.
Ain't safe for old gal with stars in her eyes.
Odessa comes from director Geremy Jasper, whose first feature film, Patty Cakes, was also a music-centered picture, albeit in a very different style. This film stars Sadie Sink as the titular Odessa, playing a young farm girl forced to navigate a treacherous wasteland in search of her father's guitar. Her journey leads her to Satylyte City, a metropolis absolutely drenched in neon, where she meets her one true love, Euri Dervish, played by the wonderful Kelvin Harrison Jr. The film starts off differently than I anticipated, with a soft, slow folk ballad that actually gave me physical chills. It's a well-written and well-performed piece, and I wasn't necessarily expecting such subtle and reflective songs in this post-apocalyptic rock opera world. Of course, some folks will be bored by such music, which makes me kind of sad on a personal level, but is also very much core to my overarching thesis when it comes to Odessa, which I will get to in a minute. Sink's vocals start off reminiscent of a young Joni Mitchell, and as we progress, we get some hints of Dolly Parton, and then as she moves through the wasteland, we really hear more of that raw outlaw country vibe, reminiscent of folks like Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and legendary artists like Ramblin' Jack Elliott. The most emotionally resonant songs come in the first act, with one in particular a duet with Odessa and her mother, where we see flashbacks of Odessa's father as a pretty uncanny reflection of a Johnny Cash-like figure. These flashbacks are presented with heavy diffusion and mist, which creates a very dreamlike atmosphere and is juxtaposed quite clearly against the harsh, more voyeuristic reality of Odessa's journey through this surveillance-heavy post-apocalyptic landscape. When she makes it to Satylyte City, though, we are absolutely hit over the head with neon, and we watch its residents, who own virtually nothing outside of televisions, watch reality shows like Face Job Makeover, which is obviously a not-so-subtle critique of reality TV culture and our societal fixation on superficial beauty. And it's this lack of subtlety that I think a lot of people have an issue with. Odessa is over the top at times, and it's cheesy at times, and it's chock full of very familiar tropes. But I actually think that's very much an intentional design within a more meta piece of messaging from Jasper. Underneath the neon facade, there's a fairly sharp critique of the entertainment industry. The struggle of the independent musician is central. Odessa is forced to take an exploitative gig in a very dingy club, and even more established performers are having their earnings drained by those who hold power. Odessa's love interest, Euri Dervish, has had to compromise his art, and he's reduced to performing crowd-pleasing tracks that are mostly devoid of personal meaning to crowds of people who are more concerned with his presentation as a sex symbol than as an artist. By making the film so colorful and jam-packed with cliches, it masks these underlying messages in a sort of exaggerated, tongue-in-cheek style that distracts the audience. Ironically, a lot of the people who probably will enjoy Odessa the most are those who are swept away in the cliches and the color and the cheesy entertainment, which is kind of the point. Ultimately, the film starts in one direction and then goes very far to the other side, from soft folk ballads to huge electro pop. Odessa takes you on a neon, cliched-filled adventure, but still does manage to say something interesting in the process. It's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay, but if you're interested, Odessa will be available to watch on Hulu starting March 20th. Subscribe, please, before you go. Like, comment, all those things are helpful to me as a human being on the other side of this screen. So yeah, have a wonderful day, and thanks so much for watching.
I think people want something that moves them.